You know, something like 70% of everything in the US gets moved around by trucks. We're talking billions of tons of, well, stuff. They're basically the lifeblood of our economy. But have you ever actually stopped to think about what's in them? All right, let's jump in and decode these giants of the highway.
No, seriously, picture this. You're on a road trip, and one of these massive rigs just rolls on by. What's the story inside that giant box on wheels? Could it be the brand new iPhone you've been waiting for? Or maybe it's the fresh apples for your kid's lunch. Or, hey, what if it's a giant piece of a wind turbine that's going to power a whole town?
So to figure this all out, we're going to follow the journey of a newcomer named Saad. Now, Saad isn't driving the truck. Nope, he's the person behind the scenes, the mastermind who has to figure out exactly which trailer is right for which job. By looking at this through his eyes, we're going to get the real logic of the road.
All right, so where does Saad's journey begin? He's got to start with the most common trailer on the road, the absolute workhorse of the trucking world, the dry van. Trust me, you've seen thousands of these, even if you never knew what they were called.
So what exactly is a dry van? The easiest way to think about it is like a big, secure, mobile warehouse. It's just a giant, enclosed box on wheels, and its whole job is to do one thing really, really well. Keep stuff that doesn't need to be cold or hot, safe from the weather, dirt, you name it.
And what's inside is basically, well, the stuff of our everyday lives. Seriously, look around you right now. The clothes you're wearing, the phone you're holding, the food in your pantry, there's a really good chance it all spent some time in a dry van. Saad quickly realized that because they come in these standard 48 or 53-foot sizes, they are the simple go-to choice for almost everything moving across the country.
Okay, so the dry van is pretty straightforward, right? But what happens when the stuff you're shipping is a little more picky, a little temperamental? That's when we have to turn up the heat, or, in this case, turn it way, way down. It's time to meet the reefer.
Yeah, reefer. That's just the cool industry name for a refrigerated trailer. Now, at first glance, it kind of looks like a dry van, but there's one huge giveaway, that big unit stuck to the front. And that thing is not just an AC unit. Oh no, it's a whole climate control system with its own little engine that can keep the inside at a super specific temperature. We're talking deep frozen or just perfectly chilled.
So what's the big deal? Well, it's all about the cargo. We're talking about really delicate, high-value stuff here. Think about it. Fresh lettuce all the way from California, life-saving medicines that absolutely have to stay cold, or even a whole truck full of beautiful flowers for a big wedding that just can't wilt. What Saad had to learn wasn't just what these things carry, but the huge responsibility and the cost that goes along with it.
And this really gets to the heart of the tough call Saad has to make all the time. On one hand, the reefer gives you perfect protection for that sensitive cargo. But on the other hand, running that climate unit 24/7, man, it just burns through fuel. A shipment from, say, California to New York in a reefer can cost 25, maybe even 30% more than in a regular dry van. So it's this high-stakes game, a constant trade-off between keeping things fresh and keeping costs down.
Okay, but what about the really big stuff? You know, the cargo that's just too tall or too wide, too awkward to fit in a box? What do you do with the stuff that just can't be contained? Well, for that, you've got to get rid of the walls and the roof altogether. And that brings us to the world of the flatbed.
And yeah, it's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. Just picture a giant, flat, steel table on wheels. The genius of it is its complete openness. There's nothing boxing it in. This makes it the perfect solution for hauling the real building blocks of our world. Stuff that has to be loaded with a crane from the side or the top, things that have no chance of fitting through a regular trailer door.
The kind of stuff you see on these is just impressive. We're talking massive steel beams for a new skyscraper, huge excavators headed to a construction site, or giant sections of a pipeline. Now, that open design makes it easy to load, for sure, but it also creates the #1 biggest challenge, making sure that load is secure. And I mean secure. It's literally a matter of life and death. Saad learned real fast that for the folks operating flatbeds, physics and safety aren't just ideas in a textbook. They're everything.
And the process itself, wow, it's a real masterclass in skill. After the cargo is loaded, the driver uses this combination of super heavy-duty straps and thick steel chains to lock everything down. To get those chains incredibly tight, they use these special tools called binders that crank down with a ton of force, making sure nothing, and I mean nothing, is going to move an inch. And then, if the cargo needs protection from the weather, they have to wrestle this massive tarp over the entire thing. It's truly an art form that takes both serious muscle and incredible precision.
So there you have it. Dry van, reefer, and flatbed. 3 totally different tools for 3 totally different kinds of jobs. The big lesson for Shad wasn't just knowing what each one was, it was about understanding the logic of when to use one over the other, and why. That was probably his most important lesson of all.
And this little cheat sheet here, it's not just a summary, it's basically the decision-making playbook. Picking the right trailer is all about asking the right questions. Does it need to stay out of the rain? Okay, dry van. Does temperature matter? Even a little bit? Gotta be a reefer. And is it just way too big to fit in a box and it needs a crane to get it on there? Well, that's a job for a flatbed. Every single shipment decision starts right here, balancing the cost, the safety, and what the cargo actually is.
So what's the big takeaway from all this? It's that every truck you see on the highway has a story. And now you actually know how to read the first chapter of that story. You're not just seeing a truck anymore. You're seeing a mobile warehouse, a giant rolling refrigerator, or a platform carrying the next big piece of our world.
So here's a little challenge for you. Next time you're out on the road, play the game. Look at the trucks passing by. Is that a dry van? A reefer? A flatbed? Try to guess what story its cargo is telling. Now that you know the basics, what will you see on the road tomorrow?